We live in a nation in which advertising and consuming is a way of life. They're everywhere we look. Anywhere the eye can see, it's likely to see an ad. In fact, it is estimated that a person living in a city sees up to 5,000 advertisements a day. The media structure in our country is constantly changing, creating new ways to advertise to consumers through these new platforms. The internet, television, and mobile phones are all avenues that advertising strategists are utilizing to disperse their messages. I wanted to gain an understanding of the relationship between advertising and the media, so I met up with a couple of professionals in the business.
My name's Rick Sanchez. I have a company called Post Haste Media in North Hollywood.
I'm Susie Lyons. I'm here at David and Goliath, and I'm the Associate Director of Connections Planning.
I first wanted to get their perspective on how TiVo is affecting the industry they work in.
TiVo is a really tough one for television advertisers because television advertising is usually very expensive. If people are fast forwarding through their commercials, it's a waste of money. A lot of them are trying to find ways that even in a fast forward mode, the message, even a basic message, will get out. Making the graphics stay on the screen a little bit longer, make them a little bit larger, you'll still see a big graphic.
You know, when you rewind on the DVR, they own the 3 seconds of rewind, and there are definitely technologies that do that, but I think there are also just simple understandings of how people actually behave that make it so that DVR is not the devil.
Subliminal advertising has been found to be a myth. Astute advertisers are utilizing continuous surveying as one of their primary information gathering methods to ensure both the effectiveness of their actions and to gain an understanding of how the market works.
Most legitimate advertisers are going to stay away from subliminal stuff. They do a lot of psychological, behavioral analysis. They try to find what makes people respond, what colors, what sounds, what music, and especially for the demographic they're going for.
I can run 15 different variations of a piece of communication and optimize on which elements of those communications are doing well, which ones are most engaging, and I can switch my piece of creative in real time.
They'll do testing to see which characters in the film do males age 18 to 26 respond to. And they'll tailor a trailer just to that demographic with featuring those characters.
All media plays a role in driving consumer purchase intent. While the different roles are more effective together, they do not always affect individuals in the same way. Magazines and radio can drive consumers to act, while digital media can be used to encourage consumers to do research. Consumers' intent to buy products increases dramatically if they see a brand's ad messages on TV and in other media such as print or online compared with TV alone.
You've got to look at a campaign holistically. It's not either DVR or TV or the internet. They're all pieces of a whole campaign. I think it's simply looking at what each medium is best suited to do and how you can use each touch point to the best of its ability.
They're trying to find a way to deal with the whole new media on the way people are viewing media.
You look at it more as new technologies and new platforms provide more opportunities to dimensionalize the story.
A lot of kids in their 20s don't have televisions. They watch on their laptops, they watch stuff on their phones. It's frightening to the TV networks.
Product placement has become increasingly common over the years, and storylines have actually been written to revolve around these products. While this method has proven to be extremely effective in some cases, considerations must be made when using these products in the public spotlight.
I think product placement is definitely valuable when it's used correctly.
They're putting the ads right into video games.
In 30 Rock's episode where they went sort of overboard with it is a perfect example of the fact that we're self-aware and that we understand these things. I think people are more wary when they see people who either don't fit the brand or they see things that try too hard. I think of Michael Jordan for Nike. He is the perfect proof that with the right person, he and that brand have been together for 25 years.
There is always a risk of tension between advertisers' demands and show creators. Ironically, Mad Men is a recent example of this. The issues of actor cuts, episode time cuts, and product integration were not merely suggestions, but instead were definite AMC demands. AMC wants to cut 2 minutes from each episode in favor of more commercials, as well as integrate product placement into the show.
I know that they're trying to fit more advertising in where, shows used to be 24 minutes, now they're 23 and 22 minutes, so they can sell more ad time. But it's a challenge for the creative teams to fit all of that into a shorter space. It's probably angered the writers and the directors more than it's angered the producers. To tell a compelling story, cut out a minute can be tougher. As a creative type, it's just one more limitation that you have.
Mad Men has been delayed to 2012 due to these key non-cast negotiations. Hopefully this will be worked out sooner than later, considering what could happen in the year 2012. These days, it seems that nearly anything can present an advertising opportunity.
In grocery stores, in your checkout line, you'll see, little televisions showing commercials. And those are generally shorter commercials because they're trying to reach you as you're moving and doing other things. You'll have televisions in an elevator. You've seen them now in taxis, men's bathrooms.
First understanding what the objective of the assignment is, and then looking at what media platforms and which communication touch points are going to be the most effective to do that.
They're looking for captive audiences. That's why now when you go see a movie, you'll see a lot of commercials before the movie because you have a captive audience. They can't really get away from that screen. Because a lot of people are watching commercials on mobile devices and on laptops and on desktop computers at home and not on television, commercials have gotten shorter.
If you're watching TV, I have 30 seconds to talk with you. If you are online, I've got much more time because that's a one-on-one conversation. It's you and your screen. You've probably got headphones in. It's a much more intimate conversation and it's a much different conversation.
We used to do a lot of 1-minute commercials, then 30 seconds, and we're even doing 10-second commercials now.
Some companies have opted for advertising strategies, soliciting customer feedback. Another unconventional method is using platforms for user-created advertising. These ad campaigns could be effective because they don't seem as though they are directly trying to sell you on their product. Red Bull Flugtag is the perfect example of a company getting the consumers involved to promote their product.
Consumer co-creation has been something that's been around for a long time, and I think certain brands have had that in their DNA sort of from the get-go, like with Red Bull. When they launched, it was very grassroots, targeting college campuses as well as some of the athletes. The thing that I think they're most talked about for is the co-creation of the Flugtag, the fact that it's a consumer-initiated and consumer participatory event where people do create these flying machines. It makes a lot of sense for a brand like that.
Some advertising professionals will admit they have not yet found the key to really communicating in these new platforms, but judging by my conversations with Rick and Susie, it seems as though they are still finding ways to be effective.
For television, advertising has always been a driving force.
It's not really about an adversarial relationship, it's really about, again, integration.
Advertising is their bread and butter.
As creative people in advertising, it's our job to be storytellers, and there's a lot of different ways you can tell the story, and there's a lot of different places to tell different pieces of the story.
The younger the audience, the more mobile you make your advertising.
It's understanding that we've got a lot of different opportunities to engage consumers now, and it's not about advertising to them, it's about talking with them, adapting as we hear what they're saying.
You should be able to say to the advertisers, I want to be targeted. I want to hear from you, instead of saying, I don't want to hear from you.
It's less of an adversarial thing, it's more of just an acceptance, and how do we exist in that sort of world of media coexistence.
It's a whole new ballgame out there, and there's so many different ways people are getting entertained now.
Advertising that works the best is the advertising that's honest.